um,
I'll just wait.
speaker, motivational author. I am a guy who has a pretty unique story. I was a guy who grew up in a very small town. I was very athletic, and I had a lot of success growing up playing sports, and it became who I wanted to be. It became
Yeah. Okay. So welcome everyone. Now I'm excited to have you for a special YouTube live session featuring the amazing Josh D. Brown today. And today we are diving deep into a topic that hits home for many, turning tough times into triumphs. Imagine someone facing a really tough situation, feeling stuck, but then turning it around and coming out even stronger. That's the inspiring journey we are delving into today and filled with real stories that many of us can connect with. So let's talk about a real time situation that think about about your friend who's dealing with a big challenge, feeling overwhelmed, but then finding the strength to overcome it. So why am I sharing this story with you guys? That every one of us have gone through some situations, some tough times in life, but somehow we managed or we overcame that situation, right? And that actually shows us that we are not alone, we in struggles, and there is something that is always supporting us. So grab your snacks, get cozy, and get ready for an enlightening session with Josh D. Brown. And today is the time to connect, learn, and maybe find a bit of inspiration for our own lives. As the journey through the stories and wisdom shared by Josh, so let's celebrate the strength within each of us. This evening is about more than just watching. It's about participating, engaging, and recognizing the power we all hold within. So before I hand over the stage to Josh, let me just just share something about Josh D. Brown. So Josh D. Brown is an author of a book, Reason to Purpose, and he's a certified speaker who desires to empower, encourage, and give hope to the younger generation by sharing the importance of good decision making and dangers of alcohol. He does so by sharing his life changing personal experience, all while equipping his audience with the tools necessary to live a full and rewarding life. So, without any delay, let's welcome Josh D. Brown. And if you're excited, just type welcome, Josh. And Josh will be talking to you for next 35 to 40 minutes, and then we'll have a Q&A session. So, without any delay, Josh, all yours. Welcome on the stage, and over to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm so grateful to be able to share. I would say a unique story. Something that wasn't easy. Something that I had to push through. And it's not something that I probably would have woke up one day and say, "Hey, let me go through this." Um, my life was up and down because I didn't take decision making as serious as I should have. And one thing that we have given to us every single day is the opportunity to make decisions. So rather you make good or bad decisions, there's going to be consequences. And you have to accept those consequences because of your actions. Your actions bring those consequences. So um growing up, I decided I wanted to be an athlete. I decided that I wanted to push forward. I decided I wanted to be the best athlete that I could be. And in the midst of me growing up and wanting to be an athlete, I faced a lot of success. And sometimes growing up in a small town like I did and playing football, playing basketball, playing baseball, and running track and winning came with um, I would say opportunities that most people probably shouldn't have. And when I say that, I was able to do things and get away with it, which created habits. Habits that probably most kids shouldn't have the opportunity to do. And I was praised because of my ability to win. And I latched onto that. And I learned at a young age I could be this type of person because I was going to get away with it. Now, my real name is Josh Brown, but everybody knows me as Slope. Slope became a person that I didn't desire to ever stop being at one point in time. And when I say that, I had this alter ego that I can do anything that I wanted to do, that I can be an invisible man. And that invisible man was invisible until he became real, with real life decisions, with real life actions, and consequences that I didn't want to face. So I went on to high school and I won a lot. I went on to college. I got a college degree. I came out of college. I started, working as a supervisor for FedEx. I started teaching at the high school level as a substitute teacher and a homebound teacher. And then I started coaching high school football. So I was at a point in life where I thought I had everything figured out. You couldn't tell me anything, but you couldn't tell me anything growing up because I was always faced with success and I was always told that you can do whatever you want to do. At 12 years old was the first time I ever snorted cocaine. At 12 years old was the first time I ever took a drink. At 13 years old was the first time I ever started drinking and driving. Now, mind you, everything that I just told you that I was doing, an athlete, going to college, going to high school, being successful, I was doing all of these things while behind closed doors, I was trapped with drugs and alcohol. But because of my success, people didn't really pay attention to the person I was becoming, Slope. Somebody that really didn't deserve to get away with things just because he was an athlete, but it didn't matter. Slope, he was that guy. And those habits that I started when I was 12 and I was 13, they followed me all through high school, all through college, and then out of college. But because of my success, I continued to do it. I thought that everything was going to be okay. And I remember I turned 16. I was in the 10th grade, and my mother and father purchased me a red neon, a car. So I got my first car when I was 16. And living in a small town again, I was pretty much allowed to come and go as I pleased. Um, but I was one of the only friends that I had that really had a car at the time. And remember those same habits, the smoking, the drinking, the partying, just increased because now we had the ability to drive to and from those parties to the point to where we would just go out and we would just get so intoxicated. We would have the hangovers the next day. We're laying there, oh my God, I'm never going to drink again. And then the next day you're doing it again. But how are we getting home? Me. I was drinking and driving. And that invisible man I told you slow was caught on to my friends. So where everybody would say, how we getting home? Don't worry, Slope got us. How we getting home? Don't worry, Slope got us. Everybody started depending on me to get us home because they said I was the best drunk driver. And that mentality that I had stuck with me. And I always thought that, man, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be okay. We're going to get home. And I remember when I was coaching college football, it was my first year coaching college football. We were in a staff meeting. And mind you, I've been drinking and driving since I was 13. I never got caught. So everything's going to be okay. I can continue to do this because this is what Slope does. And the coach who hired me was sitting there and he said, basically, only thing I can't get you out of is a DUI. It didn't stick. It didn't click to me when he said that the only thing that I can't get you out of was a DUI. So I kept drinking and driving because I thought that everything was going to be okay. Fast forward, I end up leaving the school to go somewhere else, and I'm still drinking and driving. I'm still working with kids. I'm still being a teacher. I'm still doing everything that I really wanted to do, but I was still trapped. And being trapped in drugs and alcohol is not something that you should walk through alone. I want you to remember this one thing. There's nothing in life that you're going through that somebody else hasn't. And there were so many days in my life where I could have woke up. Like I said, every day we wake up, we have the choice to make decisions. I didn't make the decision to be like, hey, I need to go get help, or a I need to stop drinking and driving. Why? Because I was trapped in bad habits. I couldn't tell you why. I just didn't wake up one day and say, hey, listen, this ain't the way. It's because the hold on you that drugs and alcohol can have on you is so powerful. Because when you look like you're doing it okay, you got to understand that sometimes success can be damaged by what you do in the dark. Don't always look at what's on the outside, what everybody can see, but stop and think to yourself, man, am I really doing this right? Are you getting better or are you getting by? And from the time that I was 12 to the time that I was 27, I was just getting by. Yes, I was winning. Yes, I graduated. Yes, I was working in the fields that I wanted to work in, but I wasn't getting better. I was just getting by. Every single time I got in the car to drink and drive, every single time that I had snorted some cocaine, every single time that I had smoked some marijuana, I was just getting by. I wasn't getting better. And I didn't understand that because again, the trap that drugs and alcohol can have on you, it can ruin your life. It could take a life. It could crush a life. And you were created and designed in such a way to live in peace, to live in purpose, and to live in joy. You don't need to do that. You don't need to go out and be trapped in something that takes the joy and pain out of you when you were born to be greater. And I didn't understand my purpose. I didn't understand how to claim my power. I had to get to the point in life to where I wanted to claim my power and know who I was so I could walk away from things that were stopping me from getting better. The get by syndrome. I had to get out of it. And the way that I had to get out of it wasn't the way that I probably should have. I know that I shouldn't have. Because the way that I got out of that get by mentality when I was 27 years old. Now, mind you, I told you I've been drinking and driving since I was 12. When I was 27 years old, I went to a football game with a bunch of colleagues. It was a homecoming event. A bunch of people were there. We were drinking, we were partying, football, food. That was my life. I sports, party, food. That's what I was doing. At the end of the day, I had to go home. So I had to walk to my car. But again, I was intoxicated. Again, I was living a life of just getting by. I wasn't getting better. I open my car door, still just getting by, not getting better. I get in my car, I turn the ignition, I start the ignition, and I begin to drive home. An 8 mile drive. I've made this drive a million times before. High, drunk, intoxicated. However, I've always made it home. I woke up the next day with tubes coming out of my side in a hospital room, in ICU, because I was on a head on collision. The invisible man, slow. The don't worry, oh, Josh will get us home. Don't worry, Josh will get us home. Face the reality. I didn't get home. Not only did I not get home, a man by the name of Nelson Robinson never made it back to see his family. See, Nelson Robinson was leaving out of his house to go to the store. He left his wife he left his wife home to go to the store. Innocent man, just making a run to the store, gets hit head on by me, a drunk driver, and he lost his life. So November 1st, 2014, I killed somebody from a DUI causing death. My life was flipped upside down. As I lay in the hospital bed, I know that I'm in an accident, and it's 2 or 3 days going by, but I don't know the ramification of what just happened. And I remember the first couple of days I had people staying with me, just supporting you. It was in a car accident. They knew what happened at this time. I didn't. And it was like a Wednesday, and my family finally went home and just let me stay by myself. And one of my friends came to me, and I'm laying in my bed, and he looks over me and says, "I got something to tell you." And I said, "What's up?" And he goes, "You killed somebody?" And I looked at him and I was like, "What?" Like everything was sucked out of me. As I'm laying in bed, I can't turn left and right. I have 2 collapsed lungs. I have a broken collarbone. I got a humerus fracture in my arm. I just like look and it's like, what? He was like, "Yes, you killed somebody." And for a minute there, I don't even remember like what went through my mind at that time, but I remember him leaving. And again, it was the first night I was by myself, and I remember laying in bed, and I remember crying and asking God, "Why didn't you just let me die?" Because if I would have died, I wouldn't have known anything. I was the one that was drinking. I was the one that was driving. I was the one doing wrong. The innocent man driving to the store for his wife died because of a senseless act of me. And all I wanted was God to take it away and let me die and him be here. Decisions. Every single morning we wake up, we're given the opportunity to make decisions. And the decisions that I was making at 27 was from my habits that I started when I was 12, 13, 14, 15, so on. We got to get to a place in life where it's okay to say, "Listen, I need help." It's okay to say, "Brother, come in because I'm not doing this right." It's okay to stop somebody from doing something wrong. If you truly care and you're truly there for somebody, it's okay. I didn't have that. I don't blame anybody who allowed me to drive my car that day because I was a grown man. I was an adult. The trap from drugs and alcohol, the blame is on me. So at this point, as I told you, I had already graduated college. I was teaching, I was coaching, and I was a supervisor at FedEx. So again, I had everything in my life that I wanted. Boom. The DUI causing death is here. So now it's time to think, man, I could go to prison. I killed somebody. I took a life. Everything that I wanted was right in my hands, and this was gone in a matter of 5 minutes. It took me 5 minutes to wreck my car. I had at this time I have a 3-year-old son, and I'm sitting here thinking, I'm probably going to prison. And that's when the sleepless nights started to come, and that's when I started facing depression, and that's when I started taking pills to be able to sleep at night. It's when I just felt like everything was crumbling because I had everything I wanted and it was gone because I wanted to do something that no man on earth or woman should do. Is be in alcohol. So it took about a month for them to charge me with a DUI causing death. I'll never forget it. At the time, I was coaching middle school basketball, and I went to the basketball practice. It was a Saturday morning, and a principal came. Nice guy. I still respect him for what he did. He pulled me to the side and said, "Josh, you know they put a warrant out for your arrest." Boom. Now everything is really getting real. And I told him, I said, "Thank you for telling me. I don't want to go face these kids and tell them what was going on because I felt they were too young and to understand it and be thrown right at them this fast." So he allowed me to turn my keys in and went to take over from my practice. Well, I went home. I tell my girlfriend, I said, they put a warrant out for my arrest. So now I'm scrambling around. It's Saturday. I'm trying to call a lawyer, trying to figure out what's going on because I don't want them to show up at my house and arrest me. I don't want them to show up on my job and arrest me. So I had to figure out, man, what I was going to do. So I got a lawyer. He called him. It's like 12 o'clock. He called me back at like 1 o'clock and was like, "Listen, I have everything set up for you. You have to go to the police office. You have to turn yourself in. You'll bond out, and then we'll just go on." So I did that. I came back home that Saturday and I sat down and then I started Googling all my charges and what I was facing. How much time could I go to prison? So I sat out for 9 months on bond with the sleepless nights, with the depression, with the suicidal thoughts. I'm feeling like the world was crumbling in my face. And then I go to court. And there was a way where I could have got home confinement or go to prison. I checked every box for home confinement. I was a perfect candidate for it. Did I think I was going to go on home confinement or was I going to prison? I was leaning more that I was going to go to prison, but I was hoping that, man, maybe they can understand who I am or who I wanted to be and who I could be. And for them to understand that I was in a good situation and I just made a mistake. Sometimes your actions, your mistakes are not, "I'm sorry" worthy. They are major consequences worthy. And I remember the judge looking at me and he says, "But a life was lost. So we see fit that you serve 3 to 10 years in a state penitentiary." And I can hear my mom crying. I can hear the sobbing. And I'm looking forward, and the bailiff comes and he puts my hands behind my back. And I turned around, I knew, like, oh man, it's here. There was nothing I could do. So they put me in handcuffs. They walked me across the street. And the realization of when it was like real is when they sat me down a seat and they shackled my feet to the chair. And I had to sit there for like 30 minutes waiting on a police officer to come to transport me to the jail. So then my mind is racing. What does jail look like? I didn't grow up with a father, my real father. My real father was in and out of prison my whole life. And I remember as a kid, I always used to wonder what jails look like because I wanted to know why jail was so much more important to my father than me. I had a stepdad who was a drinker, and he used to always ask me to go get his beer. And every time I would go get a beer, I'll open up the refrigerator. It was like a light bulb was coming on because my stepdad was my superhero because my real dad was never there. But what he didn't understand is he was creating a habit of getting the beer. But then it became a habit of me getting the beer for myself behind closed doors. And I'm saying this for all of you adults to understand that our kids are watching and that I wanted to be my stepfather and I wanted to be my superhero is that I became a drinker. Parents set the example. Understanding you are the first true superhero that your kids have, and you have the ability to steer them in the right and wrong direction. Two fathers steered me in the wrong direction. But as I got older, I had the opportunity to change who I was, but trapped. Remember, I'm trapped in drugs and alcohol. They showed me the way, but as an adult, I had the choice to say, I don't want to do this. But that's why we got to make it okay to understand I'm not okay. We have to make it okay to be able to allow your friend, your family to come to you and say, hey, I need help. I imagine all the days that I could have woke up and said, man, I need help. So now I'm sitting in a prison cell, 3 to 10, which means I couldn't go up for parole until year 3, and they had to let me leave at year 5 because you get a day for day. So essentially, I had 3 to 5, and I had a 3-year-old son who I used to call regularly. And every now and then he'd say, hey, Dad, when you coming home? That is a crushing question. I'm sitting in jail, and I couldn't answer because, again, I got a 3 to 10. I see the parole board in 3 years. They can say I can go home. They can say come back in 4 years, but at 5 years they had to let me go home. So my answer to my son was I don't know. And then he would go 100 days, and I'm like I don't know, buddy. What is a father to do when you're sitting in prison and your child wants you? He doesn't understand that daddy made a mistake. And in prison, you have this thing called RIPP, where when you first go to incarceration, it almost broke me. But you go to solitary confinement. So I spend 21 hours a day in a cell. You get out 3 hours a day, 1 hour at a time, though. But in the midst of this, you're seeing psychs and doctors, and they're building up this plan for you. And in this plan, they wanted me to take a class called RSAT. And I'm trapped. Drugs and alcohol. I'm trapped. And they tell me I have to take this class. And I remember saying, I'm not taking this class. You're not sending me down to take a class with people who are strung on opioids and all these hard drugs. I'm just a drinker. I'm not going down there. And I fought it for a while. And I remember inmates telling me this, and man, Josh, you got to take this class. So I finally bit the bullet. I said, man, I'm gonna take the class. And I stood up the first day because you had to introduce yourself. All the inmates are in there in a circle because you had to do these sessions. And I stood up, I introduced myself, and I sat down. And at the end, the coordinator of the program, which is ran by inmates, this class is ran by inmates. And he came up to me, he said, yo, you're going to be the next coordinator here. I looked at him like, man, you tripping. I'm just down here to get through and get out. Now, mind you, before I get into this, I failed public speaking in junior college with 12 people in the class. Terrified. I couldn't speak in front of people to save my soul. So I'm thinking, like, just introduce myself. What do you mean how to impress him? Like 2 months into this program, I become the coordinator. which they bended the rules for the first time. They bent the rules for me in life in a good way, because they wanted me to be a coordinator, because they seen the leader that I was and how I could impact people. So I'm in this program I didn't want to be in. I'm the coordinator of the program before I'm even supposed to be a coordinator. And they come to me and they say, Josh, I want you to come speak at the school. I said, absolutely not. Remember, I failed public speaking with 12 students in the class. I'm not going to speak in front of those kids. And then it was like, well, mostly coordinators go. I'm not going. And then they tell me, and I told them I'm not going because you're not putting shackles on me and taking me out to some school and parading me around some kids. And then they told me, no, you don't wear handcuffs. You go with your counselors and they feed you food. But I'm in. I'm in prison and I get free and I get real food. So I'm like, I'm going. So 2 weeks go by and it's time to go. We're riding in the car, West Virginia back roads, hills, and everything. And I never bothered to ask what I was going to be speaking about or doing. So in the car, I say, hey, Mr. Murphy, what I get myself into? And he said, oh, you're going to speak in front of 1,500 students. I failed public speaking with 12 students in a class. And now I'm about to speak in front of 1,500 students. I've never spoke a day in my life. I was beating myself up in prison about killing Mr. Robinson. I wasn't forgiving myself. I was thinking about everything in life that I was losing. I did not understand where my life was going at this time. And I remember it was 3 of us speaking. We had 45 minutes to speak. And that was for all of us during that session. So they got us there, and our counselor said, you're speaking, and Josh, you'll finish. So I'm thinking like, boom, I'm good. They'll take forever. And then I just got a couple minutes. They got up and spoke for 10 minutes. They left me with 30 minutes. I'm like, what? So I started telling my story. I started telling them who I was. I started telling them about the mindset. I started telling them about, the decisions I made. And I had a calming healing come on me that I never felt before after my accident. And I realized that is your purpose. Your purpose will find you. It's your job to accept it, lean into it, work at it, and let it become who you are. My purpose found me in prison, speaking in front of 1,500 students, and I never spoke before. The beginning of my healing, my purpose came in prison, where the darkest days I thought were coming, but I seen light at the end of the tunnel because I accepted, I claimed my power, and I did something that I may not wanted to do, but it was for my good. And I'll never forget it. After I spoke, this young white girl, she came up to me. She was crying, blonde hair, blue eyes. And I'm like, what's going on? She was like, Josh, I just wanted to let you know my father's been in and out of prison my whole life, and we don't get along. And because of your story, I'm able to forgive my father. Boom. I knew right then and there. I said, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And the prison continued to allow me to go speak at schools. And in the midst of this process, I told you I was taking a drug course, and I had to do all these different types of homeworks. And I'm writing. And I'm sitting there, and I just look at my cellmate. I said, bro, read this. I wrote 7 pages of a book and had no idea I was doing it. I come out of prison, and within 7 months, I was a published author. Prison to Purpose. My road to redemption, your road to triumph. Purpose will find you wherever you're at. Purpose is on you. Purpose is who you are. But purpose is something you have to choose to do. And no matter how dark your days are, no matter how heavy life is, no matter what you're going through, you can still find purpose. You can still wake up and have good days, but you have to tap in. You have to lean in. You got to accept some things that may not feel good. You got to accept some things that just, man, may make you look bad, may have people look at you one way, but know that on the other side of that look, man, is greater days. DUI causing death, kill somebody. Some people say that I don't deserve to have a second chance in life. Some people think I should be in prison still. But since I'm given a second chance, I'm gonna make the best of my second chance. I'm gonna boss up my second chance. And I'm gonna do that by just doing what's right, doing what I'm called to do, helping kids, helping others, helping people understand, man, there's a better way. And in order to know that there's a better way, you gotta accept it. I accept who I am, I accept what I did, but I also know I'm gonna accept who I am now because I claim my power, because I found purpose in the midst of prison. Why I got to the point to where I wanted to be who I wanted to be. People, but every single day is an opportunity to get better. And I stopped trying to just getting by. I had to break the mold. Now remember Slope, that guy who was just doing all these things that just wasn't right. The drugs, the alcohol. I took my name, Slope, and I broke it down. And I put these steps together while I was in prison on how I was going to change my life. And those same steps that I put together using my name saved my life. So the same drunken, ignorant, naive Slope is a changed man because of Slope. Now, these steps came by heartache, pain, but I pushed and I made life out of it. And I deserve it. I deserve life. And I'm going to take my life and keep running. Get the book, Prisons of Purpose, My Road to Redemption, Your Road to Triumph. It impacts it unravels my whole story. And it gives you the steps on how to see light at the end of the tunnel. How you're going to find your triumph through my redemption. You deserve your redemption. You deserve your story. I love what I do, but I didn't always love how I got there. But the win is inside of your journey. It wasn't where I'm at now. It's everything that I did in the midst of my journey is where the wins. The small things. Sometimes you got to move one moment, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day at a time to get where you want to go. And that's what I did. Claim my power, accepted who I was, and I continue to push forward. I love who I am today. And that's only because I chose to do different. I chose to be different. I wanted different and I found different. And I want you to do the same thing. I want you to understand your time is now, and there's no better time than today. Yesterday problems are gone. Tomorrow's never promised. Focus in on today. Win the day. That's what I want you to do every day for the rest of your life. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I love it. I hope my story, my redemption, pushes you to your triumph. And I'm open for any conversation, for any questions. I am an open book. I love to help others. And that's what I'm here to do today, is to help you see the better way. I appreciate it.
Wonderful, wonderful, Josh. I really appreciate it. So wonderful. That's our, encouraging story. So, so Miguel, welcome, Miguel. And Miguel has a question for you here.
What advice would you give a 15-year-old trying to find their purpose? One, accept who you are. Don't allow other friends to dictate where you can see yourself going. Oftentimes, and especially now, peer pressure with our young kids is heavy. And I want them to know, just accept who you are and accept the people who accept you and walk in that lane. There's some people that you're probably going to have to say no to, but your purpose is greater than bad situations, broken friendships, because if they really care for you, they're going to support you in any way you want to go.
Wow. So I hope Miguel, you got the answer. It's really encouraging, like from coming from a tragedy and reaching to a triumph. So that's wonderful. Friends, if you have questions, do ask. Meanwhile, I have some questions for you. And how do you approach goal setting for personal growth for a person?
How do I what?
How would you approach goal setting, setting a goal?
I call them smart goals. Oftentimes people set goals and they just look for this big bang goal. Well, I remember I said that the win is in the journey. Set small goals and create habits that will help you accomplish your goals. So you want to set a bunch of small goals that you can obtain that gets to the big goal, but in the midst of that, are your habits connected to your goal?
That's right. And we always say that first we create the habits and then habits create us, right?
Yeah.
So just change the habits, take small steps, and you'll be able to reach to the goal.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, what do you think? Does the mindset play an important role in the journey from tragedy to triumph?
Mindset is the foundation. Without the mindset, you can't achieve. And my mindset changed when I was on that stage for the first time. So I wasn't able to change or find my power or find my purpose because my mindset wasn't aligned and it wouldn't allow me. I was too focused on the negative to understand that there is a positive inside of it. So the mindset is the compass.
Okay, all right, that's wonderful. The next question is how does a pain contribute to personal growth?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
How does pain contribute to personal growth?
Your pain is your qualification. Without
Okay.
pain, without the pain, there would never been my purpose. It birthed it. And that's a part of accepting what it is you're going through, accepting your consequences, accepting the push and it's not, the pain is not always bad from like bad things, bad consequences. Sometimes the pain is just pushing every single day to do something consistently, creating a routine. The pain produces the purpose.
Oh, wow, that's good. Till the time we are, we see the earth, we can't see the sky, right? That's amazing. Another question is from Shubhrajit. How to shift scarcity mindset to abundant mindset?
Believe. Start to believe that there is different. Um, Surround your life with that. Take the mindset that there is different. And wrap your whole life around it and connect with people that want to see you grow. So like be intentional with everything you're doing to get to that mindset and get out of the old one. It's intentional. Man, that's a great question. It's very intentional on what you do every day to get out of that. You can't be lazy. You can't be lackadaisical, and you can't let people in that's going to set you back to who you used to be, and be with people who want to see better.
So I'm sure Shubhrajit, you've got the answer. And yes, it's a wonderful line. Pain is the qualification. Okay, so the next question we have here is do you believe that everyone has the potential for triumph regardless of circumstances?
Yes. There's too many opportunities in this world. There's too many opportunities in this world, but you just have to be patient enough to let it come to fruition. I like to say, if you can conquer patience, you can conquer the world, and the world is yours. It's just what are you willing to do to get there?
Yeah, that's right. Miguel says, surround yourself with people that nourish your vision.
You
That's
have
what
to.
I always say. Yeah,
Oh, cliche. Show me your friends. I'll show you your future. People say it all
yeah.
the time and they don't pay attention to it. But truly, who do you connect with, and who? Because you think the things that are around you are going to either allow you to grow, or they're going to hold you right here. I want to stretch my arms. I want to stretch my wings, and I need people that can help me do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So the next question is, do you think that gratitude plays an important role in the journey from tragedy to triumph?
Yes.
And how?
Um, that's humbling yourself. That's understanding what you're going through, and being level-headed, level-minded, not too high, not too low, and staying focused. Be persistently consistent and excellence.
Yeah.
Be persistently consistent. That's all you got to do, and you will create excellence. You don't have to be, oh, no, no. Just be persistently consistent, and you'll have your excellence.
Wow. There's another question. I just pasting it as it is. Sir, can you provide examples of small actionable steps that lead to significant transformation?
Routine. Waking up in the morning and focusing on things that are helping you get to your goal. So with me, I wanted to write a book. Um, so when I got up and I realized that that a book was evolving, I took time out of my day, 30 minutes every day, and I wrote. Now, not all of that made it into my book, but it was a step that I had to do to get to where I wanted to go. So I was intentional with my everyday action. But I didn't have this great big oh, I'm gonna write 7 chapters. No, I just small steps, but I did it every day.
Wow. Okay, so next question we have from Subhajit here. How can we define patience? Is too much patience bad?
Yes and no. Because it varies it varies through with each circumstance. So the patience and grace you may have for this person may not be the same patience and grace that you have for yourself on trying to accomplish your goal. So you have to look at every single thing different and put forth the effort that is necessary. So that's why you have to know who you are and where you're going to understand the amount of patience and persistency you need to get through that specific thing.
Okay. So do you think that too much patience is bad or good?
I, I don't think I can't say either good or bad. I believe that again that each circumstance calls for a different type of patience. And like every day, when you wake up one day at 70 degrees, you wake up the next day it's 80 degrees. I have to change the I have to change my outfit. I have
Yeah.
to change I have to change the route I go to work if there's traffic. So you have to adjust and put forth the effort and time necessary to complete your goal. So yes, patience can be good, and yes, patience can be bad, but it's up to you to understand how much to put into whatever it is you're doing.
It's only the way we perceive that, right?
Yep.
Wonderful. Another question. Is it possible to get overnight success? If yes, then how?
Overnight success can be you just waking up and staying positive and understanding that you're winning the battle. So your overnight success is waking up. Remember, I said that the mindset is the compass. So if you wake up every single day and you create the mindset that you're going to do what's right, that's overnight success. But your success doesn't have to be judged on others. Your success is based upon what you believe that you're doing and who you are, and that's where the ultimate success comes.
Amazing. Wonderful. I'm sure, Shubhrajit, you got the answer. So here is another question. Again, copying and pasting from the person. How do you handle fear and uncertainty in the empowerment process?
Um, with me, if I fear something, then I know it's something that I should be doing. And I had to get to the point of again connecting with people who will continue to push me because I know I should be doing it, but there's those days like but because you're surrounded with people who want to see you succeed, um, use your fear as your fuel. Um, your fear because the devil don't want to see you do it, and you're able to do it because you know that that fear is your power.
Yeah, wonderful. So Shubhrajit says he's loving your answers
Thank you.
the way
I
saying
hope I'm
it.
helping. I hope I'm helping.
What role does self-love play in the process?
Claiming your power, understanding who you are. It's the role of understanding no one can stop you from doing what you're doing. So it's huge because your self love gives you the reassurance every day of what and who you are. Because life is going to punch you, life is going to toss you, life is going to choke you. But when you're understanding who you are, claiming your power, that could be probably the most important thing. Starts with the mindset, though.
Right. Wonderful. So what do you think? What role does confidence play in this journey?
A big one, confidence, never cocky. There's a difference. But be confident in what you do, but you're confident because you're surrounding, you're engulfing, you're embracing everything that you're doing to get to that point. So when you're walking in purpose and when you're walking in there where you're aligned at, your confidence is going to be high because you know what you're doing, you know who you are, and you know that your habits are helping you accomplish your goals. So your confidence will just build. It's something that you have to evolve every single day.
Wow. Wonderful. So friends, keep asking your questions if you have. What else? If all the expectations from life, let's see what Shubhraji says here. If all the expectations from life is finished, then shall the person commit suicide?
Never, 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 never. Um, I was faced with suicidal thoughts, but this may be a harsh response. But who are we to take our own life? Like, like, do we deserve that much power? Like, think of all the people that we're connected to. Think of all the people that love us, even though we're going through a situation. Like, do we really want to leave them that way? And I had to get to the point to understand that I love myself, but people love me too. And suicide will never be the answer. It may be a thought, but are you
Yeah.
pulling it down? Are you taking it captive? Are you surrounding yourself with help? I said make I said this earlier, make not being okay okay. Make it okay to ask for help. So suicidal is the last and never option. Um, but you gotta push. Yeah, it's gonna be hard, and days are gonna seem dark, but are you pushing? Are you ready? Are you in your purpose? If you're there, then you'll find hope in the midst of those dark days.
Yeah. Wonderful. So we have two questions here. One is from Healer Bhaiya. Sir, what learning did you take from the incidents happened in your life?
That you always have two options. To fix it or live in it. I choose to fix it.
Wow.
Um, and I also learned that you have to limit the things that you have to be sorry for. Um, because you're gonna make mistakes. But can I reduce the amount of mistakes that I make enough to where I'm learning and I'm able to stay on track of where I'm going?
Okay. So, just adding into it, what actually made you think of that? Either fix it or live in it.
I was at a crossroad. I was in prison. And it was either accept it or live in self-pity and beat yourself up. I got to the point to where I got tired of beating myself up, and I got tired of wanting other people to feel sorry for me. Excuse me. So I just had to be like, yo, I'm gonna get better. Stop getting by.
Wow. So there's a question from Vishali. How does one motivate himself to walk on the path of positivity?
Man, for me, it was um I got tired of being sick and tired. And when I hit that point, I decided I was no longer going to stay there. So I had to change my mindset and change um the way I looked at things to know that listen, I'm not doing this no more.
Okay, that's good. Shuprajit has another question. How can we distinguish between confidence and overconfidence?
Um, you know who you are and you know what you're doing and you know your motives. So do your motives align with your vision and your direction? And that should tell you if you're cocky or confident.
Okay, okay, that's good. And in your experience, what do you think? What are the common misconceptions about the journey from tragedy to triumph came into the path?
Um, I think sometimes often people think because of the way I carry myself and where I'm at that they tend to think it was easy. You see the laugh, you see the smiles, you see the speaking, you see the book, but you never saw the tears. Um, and so I want people to know that when they purchase the book and they see the steps and they go through the steps, know that there's going to be more trial before the triumph, and that it
Yeah.
is hard, but the pain is your qualification. So just know that, man, it's not easy.
Okay. Right. So another question: how to choose a perfect mentor?
Um, how to choose the perfect mentor? Do your homework about them, research them. Because I know my biggest thing is sometimes I jump too fast. Really, if you're going to connect with somebody and allow them to speak over you and lead you, um, know who they are and what they're about. Um, and make sure that the results match the talk. I tell people all the time, man, watch actions and never words.
All right. Also, there is a what usually I tell to people who come to me. I tell them, okay, whatever the research, whatever the questions, or anything you want to like do for me, just do it. Search and talk to people and all. But when you come to me, then be in a surrender mode, right?
I agree. I agree.
Because once you are here, then you are on the journey,
And the wins are
right?
inside of the journey.
Yeah, wonderful. So, good question, Shubhajit here. So, I have one or two questions, guys. If you have more questions to ask, we still have time. My next question is any resource or any book you recommend to people for like further personal development or something, or like if somebody wants to overcome or wants to reach from a tragedy to triumph.
My book, um, my book, Prison of Purpose, My Road to Redemption, Euro Trump. But listen, Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Myers.
Okay, prison to purpose, right?
Yeah, Prisons of Purpose, My Road to Redemption, Your Road to Triumph. But all seriousness, Joyce Myers, Battlefield of the Mind.
So, like if I ask you, what exactly is there in the book from prison to purpose? Is it your story, or is it like giving some directions to people to reach to the perfect outcome, or
You're
what
gonna
it
learn.
is?
You're gonna learn more who Josh Brown is, but you're also going to understand how to turn tragedy into triumph. You're going to be given steps that will help you get from the tragedy to the triumph to the points where you're going to wake up and see light. So it's really about me, but also how I got to where I was at. How I turned slope and from a bad thing to a good thing.
Okay. All right. So, any advice for the people who are like stuck in the present and want to reach to their desires?
Jump, go get it. Um, you just have to go, and then stay persistently consistent.
Okay. But if there is a challenge, and this challenge is from the people in the environment who are there, like close to the same person,
Change your environment.
how? But sometimes it's difficult to change the environment, like people who are like so close to you, and somewhere or
Like,
the other way, they
like
are the yeah.
prison is a negative place. Prison is a not ideal place to write a book. It's not ideal to find your purpose. It's not ideal to be comfort to find comfort. But you have to make a decision that this is what I want, and just not accept no as an answer. Be the change, be the trailblazer, because it all starts with you.
Okay, so two more questions from my side. The first one is how how can an individual stay motivated during the challenges? Because sometimes it's really difficult to stay motivated, to keep yourself motivated when you experience something negative and it's real.
with
How
me
to yeah.
with me it was just creating a routine, um and staying consistent with it. Because there's some days I woke up and it was like, man, I don't feel like doing none of this. But then there was days I woke up and I was ready to go. I knew that when I woke up, what I was doing, where I was going, and how I was doing it. It was that constant routine, that constant consistency.
Hmm. Okay, seems the connection issue is there. Let's wait. Josh, let me check. Or is it my connection? Can you guys, can you hear me? Okay, it's him. Let him come back. Meanwhile, if you have more questions, do ask, and if he comes back, then will you will have your answers. Okay. So, Jyoti, how do we comfortably leave from a place without hurting someone whose energy may seem toxic? In my view, if I have to answer this, then how do we comfortably leave from a place without hurting someone? Don't argue with a person. Sometimes, we have to just say, okay, you are right. Don't get into the argument. Don't get into the conversation, or just leave from there, because most of the time it is the environment that actually holds us. Okay, so I think Josh has some issue with the connection. Any more questions? I hope I was able to answer, or if you need more clarity, just type in here. Okay, so then I'll reach to the closing of the session here. Let me check if he's coming. Okay, he has lost the power in the house and his internet is went out. Too often, okay, Miguel, too often we take into consideration the feelings of other individuals and overlook our own hurt. So we must take ownership of our pain to obtain our purpose. Exactly. So wonderful, wonderfully said, Miguel. I have asked him to come like for a minute or two so that whatever he was talking he can complete. If you have more questions, please do ask. My last question for Josh is still left, so I'm asking him to log in. He's here.
Hey, I'm
Wow,
sorry,
you're
my
back.
my power went out.
That's okay. You were talking about something. You were answering a question somebody had here, right?
I I I don't. I'm sorry. I do not remember.
So who had the question? Okay, so we had a question from Jyoti here. How do we comfortably leave from a place without hurting someone whose energy may seem toxic? What do you think?
I'll be brutally honest. If someone's toxic, you shouldn't worry about them being hurt when you leaving. You have to love yourself enough to know that you're making the best decision for yourself.
Yeah, but how should the person, leave the place
with grace
without
and
hurting him?
respect.
With grace and respect. Yeah, not getting into the argument, right?
No, just do what's best for you, but there's a right and wrong way to do it. So just do it respectfully and on your terms.
Yeah, right. Okay, so my last question to you: any final tip you want to give to the people who are listening to us right now and who will be listening to us later?
Love yourself enough to know that you can make the change.
Right.
You got to love yourself first.
That's the key. Awesome. Wonderful. So, friends, now as we are reaching to the end of the session, I actually want to extend my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you. Your presence, your engagement, and openness actually have made this session truly special.
I
Thank
appreciate it.
you. Thank you once again for sharing the story, your insight, and for being a part of this empowering community. And a massive thank you to is due to our exceptional speaker, Josh D. Brown Sr.
Thank
Your
you.
wisdom, your personal stories, and practical guidance actually have illuminated our path towards resilience and triumph. Your dedication to empowering others is truly inspiring, and I am so grateful for the invaluable lesson that you've shared here. For those people who are eager to stay connected with Josh and continue your journey of empowerment, you can reach out to him. Once the session will be over, I'll mention his details and you can directly connect with him and get the enlightenment. So let's keep the conversation alive and continue supporting each other on this transformative journey. Remember, friends, the power to turn tragedy into triumph resides within each one of you. As we part ways, let's carry the lessons learned today into our lives, inspiring positive change and growth. Thank you once again, and see you next week with a new topic and a new speaker. Till then, stay healthy. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vishaliji. And thank you once again, all of you. Take care, stay healthy. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Namaste.